All right, I wanted to do a little short presentation on my doctoral work here at Saybrook. I'm a doctoral candidate. I am actually in dissertation now, and I wanted to share this presentation with you and tell you just a little bit more about my personal story. So, in the next few minutes, I promise I'm going to share some valuable information with you about emotional abuse recovery methods um, so that you can sleep better, regain happiness, regain calm, which I never knew what felt like for a long time of my life. Actually, just now, about 3 years ago, began to know what actual calm felt like. I never really experienced that before. So, and I also want to talk a little bit about emotional abuse because it's not something that we know. We don't have, most of us don't have emotional literacy around that. We understand physical abuse and we understand seeing scars and bruises, but there's a lack of information about emotional abuse. And I want to talk just a tad bit about that. So, trigger warning, there is mention of suicide and suicide ideation in this. So, if you are not in safety and stabilization, or if you are, in a situation where you need to reach out, please dial 988. Dial 988 and exit this call, dial 988. So the problem here is what we're talking about is complex trauma, right? And this is an extreme stress-based disorder. It stems from various types of abuse. It can be sexual abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, other, even spiritual abuse, right? I see that actually more. That is people don't know how to recognize that, but anyway, I see that as well. Now, it typically goes, oh, I'm not sure. Start my video so you guys can see me. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so it typically goes undiagnosed, particularly for women, because everything for women is supposedly our hormones, right? Everything. Oh, well, that's just your hormones or your weight. Yeah. Believe me, I've heard that both from medical providers, and it was neither one of those. And so anyway, oh, you're too skinny, or you're too this, you're too that, you're blah blah blah. So medical providers are not even educated on this as well. So it often goes undiagnosed or misdiagnosed, again, particularly for women, and particularly if we were not in war. If you are a female veteran, you probably will get a diagnosis. But if you've never been, if you're not a veteran, you may not ever get a diagnosis, or you may get completely brushed off. Not uncommon, not your fault, right? This is lack of education from that field. But here are some of the signs, the telltale signs: loss of sleep, nightmares. I had nightmares for probably about 7 years every night. And then I had night terrors as well for a long time. Insomnia, because you don't want to go to sleep, right? Because you know when you go to sleep, what's going to happen? That when you go to sleep, you're going to have nightmares. So you don't want to go to sleep. So insomnia related to that, being jumpy, reactive, edgy, feeling guilt and shame over everything, even if you say no to someone, spending hours on hours or even days feeling guilt or shame about that, because we're programmed, particularly females, not all the time, but this is what I see a lot in my private practice. We're programmed to people please. We're programmed to make others feel better. Even, somebody go, oh, you need to smile. You know what? First of all, I'm grown. I don't need to do anything. I can do whatever I want, but we're programmed not only by society, but everything to make everybody's life better but our own, right? And I'm speaking from a female perspective, obviously, but it's not just females, but it does tend to be more so that I've noticed in females. Probably not now with more coming generations, probably more equal basis now. But this is my experience, and this is my clients' experiences as well. People pleasing. People pleasing is actually a trauma response. People don't really know that. Again, this goes back to lack of emotional literacy on the topic. So really what I'd like to share with you is that integrative medicine is actually on equal footing with conventional medicine. So we have random controlled trials, we have science, we have peer-reviewed evidence, we have modern different types of methodologies that have studied this. And we have found that it is on equal footing with conventional medicine. And the reason is that it's so effective It's because we treat the whole person, right? A uterus doesn't come into my private practice, right? My heart doesn't come into my private practice. The entire person comes in, and we work together in a holistic manner, integrative type of manner. So, first of all, I want to say this, particularly around emotional abuse. And I say this because I was blamed for why did you stay? This is a very common thing. Why did you stay? And so often the victim is blamed, but in most cases, we don't know what we don't know. Let's face it, unless you study this, or maybe have some friends or whatever that are in this, and you have to tell them. So it's like a dripping faucet. So first of all, you don't want to know what you don't know. So it's not your fault. I won't want you to take responsibility. The abuse is on the abuser, not you. So I want to make sure I say that very specifically and very clear. The abuse is on the abuser, not you, right? You don't have to take responsibility for their actions. They have to take responsibility for their actions. They are responsible for them. However, you can now forgive yourself, because often we feel bad that it happened to us. So I want to say that it's not your fault, and it's time to exercise forgiveness for yourself so that you can get the healing you need. I'm not saying you have to forgive your abuser. Their sins are on them. But you can forgive yourself now for carrying the weight of what they did to you, because it's not your fault. You don't know what you don't know. You don't probably, unless you are, have advanced education on this, you don't know what trauma bonding is, right? You don't know what the signs are from somebody who has maybe narcissism or borderline personality disorder or some sort of other type of thing. So you don't know what you don't know, and allow them, bless them, release them, allow them hopefully to get the help that they need. But it's time for you to get the healing and the help that you need, right? So it's like a dripping faucet. And so this is what I said when somebody asked me. They said, well, why did you stay? Why did you? And I said, well, it's like a dripping faucet. You don't realize it, but the faucet drips and drips and drips, and the tub is plugged, and you don't realize it until you look back and the tub's overflowing and there's water in the floor. And yeah, I say the water over the weird way. My cousin likes it. He says, say water, say water. So you don't realize, and then you look around, and then there's water all over the floor, right? And then you realize, holy crap, right? This is an abusive situation, but you don't realize it because it's like a dripping faucet. And now Sluncha, that's my dog Sluncha. He's Irish, hence the same Sluncha. Now he's going to get upset because he hears me getting a little loud in here. I'm okay, buddy. So it's not your fault. I say that to say that because it's not your fault. It's like a dripping faucet. It's like the frog in the pot, right? Just little by little. And I want to make sure that you know that it's genuinely not your fault. So in the next few minutes, I promise I'm going to share some evidence-based tools, evidence-based modalities, evidence-based strategies, and within an evidence-based medicine called mind body medicine, which is an integrative wellness approach, and no fads. I hate fads, y'all. Anybody who's watching this knows me, knows how I feel about fads. So, in case you're new and you've never met me before, hey, I'm obviously extremely Appalachian, hence the accent. My name is Kelly Hugert. I'm a doctoral candidate at Saybrook University in the mind body medicine, and I have certification in clinical and applied hypnosis. I also have other certifications outside of that. I have a certification in clinical herbalism, clinical aromatherapy, functional medicine certified health coach. I'm preparing to set for the national board exams. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I've been doing that for a long time. I enjoy that. A certified professional coach that's trauma informed. Also have a couple of other certifications in hypnosis and trauma informed hypnotherapy. One of my doctoral posters has actually been accepted into the journal of a clinical hypnosis journal. So I'm very proud of that. And again, I'm in dissertation right now. I'm also the creator and author of Lost to Living, the mind body medicine approach to healing trauma. And that's what I'm going to talk about, because I also developed a 6-week intensive course on that as well. So trauma doesn't have to be a life sentence. Healing can occur. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and And now I help others as well. And I was at the darkest place somebody could ever be at. Read into that exactly what you think, because it is true. Semicolon. And I didn't tell anybody. I didn't talk about that aspect of it. I didn't tell anybody. But I remember that day very vividly. My grandbaby's face came to me, and I was out in the middle of the woods, and contemplating just not being able to go one step further. My the excuse me, the previous relationship that I had been in was very, very toxic. That person said, I hope you die alone. Nobody will ever want you. And, a bunch of other horrible, horrible things that I really don't want to go into. But it pushed me into a very dark place because financially I was at ruins. I could not get out because of the financial abuse as well, even though I was complete, completely blamed for it. And that's not true, but whatever. Um, that person had already moved on, had already been in a relationship. Why we were still in a relationship, but was very quiet about it, very secretive about it. And so the person basically accused me of doing all the things that they were actually doing. But you know what? That's okay. All those things are now done. But the point is, I was in such a dark place because I couldn't get out financially, emotionally. I was a shit show. I said it. And that day I was just like, there's no way I can get out of this financial mess. There's no way I can get out of any of this. So I'm just going to end it. And my grandbaby's face came to me, almost like an angelic, whatever vision or whatever. And I was like, oh shit. I can't imagine now my grandbaby's growing out, because I only had one at the time, but I was like, I can't imagine growing up, my baby growing up without his mama, right? Over this. I've got to figure it out. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I got to figure it out. And so I got in my car and I drove to another rehabber's house because I do wildlife rehab as a way of giving back. And I drove to her house. And anyway, long story short, ended up delivering some goats, some baby goats, and now I call myself the Reiki goat master. And anyway, I started turning around. I was like, I got to get some healing, and therapy was not working for me. While it validated where I was at, it was like a tornado the day before, during the day, and the day after. And I was like living in a tornado of emotions 3 days out of a week, and I could not get any forward motion. I was like, I've got to get some forward motion. So I started reaching out. I hired a coach who now I'm trained in the same way they are. And then as I started my doctoral journey, I started initiating all the things that I teach in my class, and I teach my private clients. And then the latter part of that healing was hypnosis. Started doing my own hypnosis recordings, started designing them, and that was that extra boost that I needed, which is now what I do. So through my work, I discovered a simple yet very, very effective way to recover when nothing else was working. And that is very, very true. And so my clients and myself have really, really made some great strides. And so this is the work that I'm very, very passionate about. And this is what I share. And so this can help you to sleep better. I rarely have a nightmare now, rarely. And if I do, I know exactly how to deal with that very next morning. And that was all very much hypnosis. Support more energy, more focus, more creativity. When you are under emotional stress all the time, you actually get sicker more often, and those sicknesses can actually last longer. So this work can actually help you have less sick days at work and actually recover quicker. Well, that's money back in your pocket, especially if you take sick days that are unpaid. Less aches and pains, so you can move your body and do more, because all that trauma gets stored in the body, and so you feel like crap there too. Help you set better boundaries, choose healthier relationships. If you get out of one relationship and you don't heal and you get right into another one, well, that's a cyclic pattern, right? Because we're designed to see. There's a couple of different things about that, and I can send you some information about that. But it's called betrayal blindness. But you're also so accustomed to seeing trauma as quote unquote love, and it's not. But you don't know that because, again, you don't know what you don't know. So this can help you to choose healthy relationships, to be present with your children, your grandchildren, because when you heal and offer forgiveness to yourself, you're when you're not healed, you're not showing up as your best self as well, and that can be pouring over to other aspects of your relationship. And that did for me. It poured over to an aspect of my relationship with my daughter. And after I began to get this healing, she even noticed. She was like, I know now realize you were in trauma for so long. She has some very good emotional literacy. I'm very proud of her. This also can help you pivot or change careers if you're something that resonates with you. And again, can have financial benefits because you can make better financial decisions because the trauma brain's not controlling everything, right? Can kind of shrink that and allow some neuroplasticity to happen, right? Some restructuring of some old things and to restructure some new positive automatic thoughts, right? And beliefs. Support also with self-esteem, which is very important because when you have better self-esteem, you can show up for yourself a little bit better. You can set healthy boundaries. You can say no easier without the feeling of guilt or shame. So I discovered ways to rebuild the inner self and regain my common happiness. And I've helped other women and a few men do that as well. And I'm very proud of my clients. They are rock stars. They do such very, very difficult work, and their mind is very powerful things. And the work that I do is not easy. I'm not going to lie and say that it is, but in the end of the day, when I see those smiles come on their face, or I have people tell me I've never smiled like this ever. Or I had one client say, I've never woke up happy in my life until working with you. Or I had people say, oh my gosh, I was in so much pain, but now I reduced my pain by 85% because of the work that we do together. Or my energy levels are better than they were because of releasing all this. Were so many testimonials. Um, it makes me smile because I know that I've helped support somebody else to show up in their gift to the world, or just be able to show up for themselves and their loved ones. So the integrative medicine approach. And so I promise that I teach, share, and show you the exact tools that I use. I share videos, share files, I share resources, and I go through the videos like with a PDF or a PowerPoint like I'm doing right now, and teach you about how to do these things and why they're beneficial. And within my 6-week program, there are herb, aromatherapy, and even nourishing and valuable supplements that you need because the B vitamins get depleted when you're in trauma, and we need to replace those. But we need to do that in a healthy way and not synthetic. So recommend some things that have methylated Bs in them, and I don't get a kickback from that. I'll also teach easy mind body medicine interventions each week on various topics to help nourish the nervous system, process that old stuff out of the body, so that we can get some safety and stabilization and begin to relax and stretch that time out further and further and further. I mean, Viktor Frankl, I believe, said is there's space between stimuli and response. And with mind body medicine, we actually create that space and allow it to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger so that we can relax, make some good decisions, really focus, and again, shrink that trauma brain and not be living every second in fight or flight or freeze or fawn. And most people know the fight or flight, but there's also freeze and fawn. Some positive psychology tools and techniques like savoring, gratitude, for example. And I have handouts and videos on that as well. And then some hypnosis recordings as well to support you as well. One of the huge ones is the empowered self, can help you to step into that empowered self. Additionally, I also add downloadable resources that can help you when you're not to download so you can do activities in between the weeks or on your own, and layer these in to help build and build and build. So one of my clients said she felt ashamed to tell others that she needed help. Excuse me. She covered for her abuser. Very, very common. We cover for our abusers. We want them to think people are, beautiful, wonderful people. Nobody's perfect. Often the clients that I see, excuse me, let me take a sip. Often my clients will tell me that they encourage their abuser to go to therapy, counseling, coaching, or something, and their abusers would refuse. Usually blame them. You're the one with the problem. You. And then when they go, okay, well then I'll go to therapy then, because if it's me, surely I want to be fixed. And then they find out that it's really not them, it's the abuser. So often people cover for their abuser. Um, People thought that her abuser was a very great guy. She was miserable, depressed, and felt like she was dying inside. And so she says, thank you for giving me the tools to navigate this situation. It's a very difficult situation to navigate. I want to make it sound like it's all easy peasy, pumpkin cheesy, right? As Shion says. It's not. There's some hard work here, but with the tools and with support and dedication and the work that I do with my one-on-one clients is really where the rubber meets the road. But really, at least stepping into this and making a commitment to yourself can be very valuable. Another client, everything I did was wrong. Everything was my fault with the me. One of the biggest aha moments for her was when I mentioned people pleasing. This work and the tools that you taught me have been such a godsend, and no idea how much this was affecting various areas of my life, like with my friends and family. I sleep better, have better boundaries, and feel more confident. One of my clients said that she spent years in therapy with little forward motion, and with just one session with me, and I work over several sessions. This usually 10 sessions. Um, with just one session, though, she began to understand what really this is about, and then began to get the tools to go forward. And not only using the tools in the program, but our one-on work with me. She said she made more progress in the short amount of time we worked together than in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was one of my 20-year therapy clients. And I'm not against therapy, but it's not a panacea, right? And we do have other tools that we can layer in with that. And so you can do this you can do this work along with your therapy and your therapist as well. And I apologize for the dog barking. He can hear me talking and he thinks there's somebody in the office. So are you ready? Ready. Boom. I want to teach you. I want to show you. I want to show you the exact steps that I did, and I teach other people as well. Boom. Let's do it. So you can speed your progress. You can get a fresher start and really begin to move forward through trauma, shrink that trauma brain, get some emotional literacy, get validated. And this is through the Loss of Living e-course. So you get access to my PDFs, my recordings, and I explain and teach you how to integrate the mind body medicine model. Additionally, and that's a $997 value, probably actually more, because you should see most of them. Anyway, access to hypnosis and coaching recordings valued at $697. And these are, I'm lowballing these. Access to herb and aromatherapy support, nourishing the nervous system to help support mood, improve mood, $197. Access to the full script supplements that are designed to speed recovery and nourish the nervous system, easily $197 value. Mind body medicine scripts and journal prompts to help you along the way. That should be $397, but I'll say new $297 value, and a free call with me to really dial into the exact areas of your need. And easily the tools are worth over $2,000. But I am one of those people that like to over deliver and give you huge value for a low cost. So this is going to be a 95% discount at this time. The class is actually going to go up in the spring. But for right now, I'm offering you a huge discount. And so the class, I believe, at this moment, well, you can go to the website, kellyhuger.com, Kelly with an I, kellyhuger.com, and click on resources and drop down the e-course. You can read about that there, sign up there. As soon as you sign up, I get an email and I add you to the group. Again, this is a 6-week intensive. So the price of the course is so inexpensive considering all the value you get. And again, you also get a free one-on-one phone call with me, which one session with me is usually $225. So that in itself pays for the course. So I want to thank you for your time and thank you for joining me on this journey. And I've got a gift for you here. And also, this is my phone number. If you have any questions, concerns, or wonderings, I'd love to jump on a phone call with you. If you need an alternative payment or a payment plan or whatever, jump on a phone call with me. The price is so low, you're probably not going to need a payment plan. And if you copy this link, it should give you the 5 simple urban aromatherapy recipes to help you de-stress from your busy day. If that doesn't come up for you, um, give me a phone call and I'll jump on a phone call with you and we'll talk about it. And then I'll send you that PDF resource. And I also will send you a free recording if you like as well, free hypnosis recording as well. You can also email me at Sweetwater Wellness Center, all one word, Sweetwater Wellness Center at gmail.com. Thanks.